to the Indie Wrestling Guy with your hosts, the Hall of Fame referee, JHawk, the not-so-mysterious benefactor, JGold, and the legendary Charly Butters.
So we had a really great time at the Neo Pro Wrestling anniversary show on Saturday. JHawk, you got the first two matches on the card. It was a good time. I enjoyed myself. I liked the whole card. I thought it was a lot of fun. What'd you think?
Yeah, I thought the card was very good. Beef Man got blinded by a fireball and kind of threw my ass down to the ground and kind of trying to make sure he didn't kill the fan.
There were fireballs?
There was a fireball, yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, caught him right in the left eye. He couldn't see. He ended up going into the crowd. We had like 5 members of security, and myself and Michael Kondo were out there to trying to get him like away from the fan, got it at a minimum. And of course, Beefman's like 350 pounds, so good luck with that.
Who threw the fireball?
Matthew Taylor.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, that's fun. Holy shit. That's a lot of fun.
So fun story about flash paper. It was not lighting backstage when we were testing it out. I don't know what they got to make it work, but it was not working earlier in the day.
What is it? Just a piece of white paper and you hit it and it just goes.
Yeah, it's supposed to go real quick. Yeah, it's flash paper. It's supposed to pop real quick, and like we were lighting it and it wasn't doing anything. It was literally just like trying to burn like regular paper but slower, and we're like, that's not how a fireball is supposed to work. So
that's not flash paper. What the fuck is that?
I don't know what it was or what happened, but all I know is that it magically worked in the match, so that's all that matters.
And it looked fucking good.
Yes, it did.
You tell me flash paper, and I automatically think of Sabu. So God bless and rest in peace, Sabu, because I think of fireballs and all sorts of shit from him. So holy shit, that's fun. So Mikey was in it was a 6-man?
Yes.
So it was him, Shelby, and Sammy?
Yep.
Nice. Against
Bax, and they won, and so Bax is on the back burner now, it seems like, and as they were celebrating, Sammy decided to push Shelby and Mikey and kind of tell them off and left. So I don't.
Yeah, not sure what's going on there. They were on the same page in the match. Everything looked
great. He was like, there, and
Sammy, young fella, you don't go pushing a guy like Shelby Wilder. Mikey, I get he's the champ. He's going to get shit. You don't go shoving Shelby. Shelby is untouchable, for crying out loud.
Yeah, for all the talk about Pedro managing Shelby, he might manage Sammy. Shelby at point.
I would like Pedro at AIW on Friday night to manage Shelby as like a something for the fans. Like give us, or he comes out on a horse or something. That would be, oh my God. Can you imagine if Shelby came out on a horse? That would be awesome.
Okay, I'm not sure how big.
What are you talking about? He does every single time he comes out. He comes out on a horse. Peaches, brother.
If they can get a real horse, like
Peaches,
or even like one of those
I've
mini
seen
ponies.
Peaches. What are you talking about?
Fine.
Okay, I mean, if you're talking about like a Kentucky Derby style race course, I don't think the Globe Iron is that big that we're just gonna be able to get a horse backstage and not cause trouble.
I'm just throwing it out there. I know Two Legs and Thorne and all those guys. Hey, if you guys are listening, a real horse. Let's talk about it. When I get there on Friday, just send me a text.
Nobody is renting a real horse for Shelby. Come on, stop it.
I have news for you, JGold. If it happened, and that's a very big if, my guess is either Thorne or Pedro is getting the mysterious benefactor of the bill.
That's what I'm saying. Let's talk. When I get into town, let's talk about the horse for 30 seconds to bring Shelby to the ring. Let's just talk. Even how about a goat? You know, it'd be great if he rented like an alpaca and he came in. He thought it was a horse.
No farm animals at wrestling, JGold. No farm animals.
Oh shit!
I know what some of those fans might try to do to him.
I don't know. You might be able to get away with it a tad more, but they do like the
right. Yeah,
they do like hayride and stuff like that.
I guess you don't want to ruin the brand new Globe, for that for an alpaca shitting on the floor.
So also some stuff happened that we really haven't covered before because we don't usually cover Mega, but so one of the wrestlers from Neo Pro, Dontavio, who's an up-and-coming kid. He's been around for a while, but I call him up-and-coming because I hadn't really known him until we started working with Neo Pro, and he's had a lot of matches with like Derek and Dom and people like that and stuff like that, so he's pretty decent. He got into an altercation with this guy, Colt Johnson, who
Colt Johnson.
yes, he's a champion in Mega. He was at the Triple Extreme show and actually started some shit with Vic as well. So, I kind of had my reservations with him, but then like Dontavio kind of like was taking the brunt of that whole argument. Well, I guess he jumped the barrier and attacked Colt at one of the Mega shows. So he had to apologize about it in the Neo Pro ring. So he invited Brandon Xavier, who is the owner of Mega, into the ring and apologized to him. And then Brandon Xavier decided
to
tell Dontavio that his wife was a whore and he's a horrible father and all these mean things. So it just started like a whole new like argument of stuff. And we put out on our page today that we support Dontavio and we think that it was bullshit what was done, and we think Colt Johnson's a punk ass because I do. And they decided to come for us. So it's become a thing. Because a bunch of their followers have now started following our account on Facebook. They think that they deserve an IW Guide title match.
Who deserves one?
Somebody from Mega thinks they deserve it.
I don't think so.
Mikey says whenever. So he's a fighting champion. If he wants to fight and defend the belt, I'm cool with it. I'll show up. We can defend the belt.
Mega got some very good talent. There's a lot of guys that'll give Mikey a tough match.
Right.
Yeah, but you don't just get propelled into the title match scene. It doesn't. We need an eliminator. Maybe they gotta. You know how this shit works. We need something.
I mean, we're kind of wide open right now. If Mikey wants to defend the belt, I'm gonna let him defend the belt. I mean, it's any press is good press, right?
Well, I have a feeling that if they go poking their noses around where it doesn't belong, they're gonna have some problems. So.
We're coming out swinging, so I'm sure we're gonna end up with some black eyes too. But hey, it'll be all right.
Listen, unfortunately, I can't be there for these type of matches. I would like to be there very much.
I know this is killing you that you can't be here for these. We're gonna have to get you out for a show.
Well, the summer's wide open, my friends. You tell me when.
Speaking of black eyes, though, how is your flag football season doing?
We lost this week 12-6, but I will say this. Okay, we may be 0-3-1.
You're getting closer. Right. Okay.
The one touchdown thrown by my kid. So there you go.
Oh,
now we're cooking. That's right. Okay. Her first touchdown pitch, she had a reception. And I got to tell you, I have some girls who really try hard, and they made some really good plays this week. And you could just see how happy they were when they made these plays. It warms your heart a tad. So I was very proud of them, except for the parents who are bringing signs that are calling for my firing. Otherwise it goes. It's going. We're getting there. We are getting there, and we'll get our win.
You're going to be the Bud Black of girls flag football. You're going to get fired halfway through the fucking season.
I have this feeling like the commissioner of the youth athletics league come walk over and go, "It's time for you to go now." Like just escorts me off the field, up the steps and out of the building. Like, time for you to go, sir. Like, it's coming.
I can imagine the conversation. JGold, you're fired. You're going to coach the team. They're better off without a coach. Get the fuck out of here.
Let them figure it out themselves. Yes.
I mean, it's not really fair. If you don't get to practice, if they don't get to practice, it's not your fault whatsoever. If you can only coach so much. If they're not getting practice, and there's nothing you can do about that.
I came up with a couple of really good plays, and they worked, and we saw some nice results. It's there's only so much as far as 9-year-olds are going to take you down the field. It happens. If you don't get that first down, there's one first down. If you don't get it, you're in a lot of trouble. So it is what it is. But we'll get there. I mean, last week I had COVID for the whole week, and I managed to snap back and get going again on the weekend for my team. So that's how important they are to me. It is what it is. That COVID fucked me up this week, by the way. I've never been that congested. On Wednesday last week, I did the show Monday and then Tuesday. And then Wednesday morning, I woke up and my eyes were like swollen shut. My sinuses were so swollen. Like, we're so full of just fluid.
You had some real special guests on the show, on your other show. Last week.
Yeah, you seemed nonplussed about the betrayal, as you call it, or somebody did from this account.
It was me. That's me on the account. I just was shocked that Zach showed up. That's who I was really shocked. Like, I kind of figured your brother was going to be your go-to.
Yeah.
Because I know he likes to partake in the NXT shenanigans, but
he does.
Zach was the shocker, and he was actually really good. And he was like, I would love to come do IW Guide someday. And I was like, we can definitely make that happen. The next time somebody's going to have to step out, maybe we'll pull Zach in and he can see how everything's made, since he's such a big fan. And I think it'd be interesting to see what he could bring to the table, because he's always out of left field with his thoughts, and it's always very entertaining to see where he comes from with things. And it's
great. Yes,
very fun.
Yes, he was great. I had a really good time with him. He hung on. He gave us a lot of content, considering my brother was very unprepared, for fuck's sake, for NXT. He didn't really watch any of it. I was like, Sam, listen, you got to come on. You got to watch NXT. And he's like, I do.
Yeah, he's always been a very reserved guy. So when he would just kind of sit there, like you and Zach, and then like I was throwing stuff at people, and he was just kind of sitting there, just like a lawyer. He was just very lawyerish, sitting there, like listening to everything happen. Yeah,
you know what? I give him credit for committing to the bit. He brings a jacket and tie to the show. God bless him. Shit, but yes, and then we get to do it again tomorrow night. Kyle is coming back, so we'll figure out whoever wants to call in again can. But it was fun last week. I didn't realize that I was going to be laid up then for another like 3 days after that. It was crazy. Seriously,
well, now you know you don't have to worry about it coming out here. You're not going to catch it while you're out here. So
right. It's only going to be a bunch of stinkos in the crowd. That's about it.
He's not going to catch it out here anyway. Dalton's not coming. So.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Well, my friend who has it, who gave it to me, I bust his chops now, and he's like, "You not let me live this down?" I go, "The guy who gave it to me originally has never been allowed to live it down, ever. I will never let Dalton live it down, who was patient zero that one time. So it is what it is, Dalton. Now he lives near Buc-ee's, which I'm even more jealous of.
Man, you can fly down in July with the rest of us. Come hang out for.
I heard that WWE is going to run their Evolution 2 pay-per-view on the same weekend as All In. So if they do it out in Nassau Coliseum, I may go to that too. Never know.
You'll get the pervert vote, I guess, over that weekend. But
Perv show.
But the wrestling sickos will still be watching All In.
Yes,
for good wrestling.
It's definitely a perv show, good wrestling weekend. So who knows?
Oh, we came up with a new shirt idea at the show. Speaking of, so we got to do shout outs, Zach, Andrew, and Patty, who came out to the show. And the new shirt idea is a shirt that says shout out Patty. Because when I introduced her to Sammy and Amanda, and I was like, you guys listen to the show. I was like, when we do shout outs, this is Patty that we shout out. And they're like, oh, shout out Patty. Shout out Patty. So I was like, that's a shirt. Shout out Patty.
Somebody's threatened to put her through a table on Facebook.
I saw that.
I was like, what the fuck? Like, what kind of asshole
bunch of sickos,
is this?
Man.
Yeah.
Bunch of sickos.
Creeps.
Yeah. Patty actually can't be in a screenshot going, not everybody like me. I'm like, well, they're going one asshole.
Right.
She's
so worried about being like when we were talking last week with Ohio Ronin about old ladies giving them hugs.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm that old lady that gives everybody hugs. And I'm like, but everybody wants your hugs, Patty. I was like, there's a difference.
It's not inappropriate when Patty does it. It's inappropriate when those weirdos
feels
do it.
And stuff. Right. She's giving mom hugs, and it's very much needed. So
correct.
Yeah. Patty is very much the wrestling mom, and I love her for it.
Right.
And she'll get celebrated on Friday at AIW's 20th anniversary. So if everybody check that out as well, it's on YouTube. Oh, then that brings us to what's on, right?
Yeah.
What's on, JHawk?
What's on this weekend?
All right, over on the Triller TV kind of thing, Game Changer Wrestling this Saturday, May 17th at 8 p.m. Eastern present Big Time. Effie defending the GTW World Title against Druckett, Matt Tremont against Wade, Jonathan Gresham against the one called Mander, Tony Deppen against Mio Yamashita, and much, much more. And if Effie retains on Saturday, he will defend against Mander on Sunday afternoon. So, doubleheader weekend for GTW on Triller.
Big weekend on the other side of things.
That could be a unification match on Sunday then, because depending on how things go Friday for Manders, the WXW title, he's the champion there. So that could be very interesting.
Well, that's cool. And if anybody has it, go ahead and buy for $6.99. You can buy the AIW subscription package for their shows on YouTube. It is AIW's 20th anniversary. It is headlined by Wes Barkley and Matt Cardona for the Intense title. And then our friends ETU, who we're having as our guest tonight. It's ETU week, Sunday, 4 o'clock, live from the Mecca in Ridgefield Park. It is going to be ETU, whatever it takes. The Pillars versus Austin, Luke, and Matt Mako. He's going by Mako now?
Yeah, like a shark. Yeah.
All right. Kylie Alexa versus Gabby Forza versus Aaliyah James. Ikuro Kwan versus Joseph Alexander. The Atlantic Tag Team Championship, the Killionaires Club versus, and this is a big one, and I'm trying to get out there on Sunday. I've been having some trouble because of the flag football game. The Tag Team Champions is against Josh Bishop and Big Sam Hardway Holloway. Big Josh Bishop and Hardway Holloway are going to knock down, and PB are going to knock down the fucking Mecca. That's going to be a fucking great match, and if I can't get to it, which is scheduling issues, I'll be watching on IWTV. Gabe Sky versus Braden Toon versus Ultra Jaguar versus Conan Lycan. Janai Kai versus Becca, and the Key to the East Championship, Mike Santana versus champion Marcus Mathers. This one's been building for like 2 years. So this is going to be a fucking banger. We don't always get like these high-end bangers at the Mecca. You get like GCW on occasion, but when ETU comes to town, they don't disappoint. So I say everybody tune into IWTV, the independent wrestling television network, and check out ETU on Sunday at 4 o'clock.
And with that, let's get our guest in here.
Yes, sir.
Interviewing.
All right, joining us for ETU Week on the IW Guide, it is the voice of ETU Wrestling, the voice of ICW No Holds Barred, as on his Twitter, the commentary wonderkind, it is Jack Solomon. Hey, man.
What up?
What up? Thank you for joining us tonight. It is ETU Week here on the show. Mm-hmm. We're excited about that, and I wanted to first start off by getting just your opinions on the untimely death of Sabu, since you've seen, and we'll introduce you a little bit more to the Ohio fan base. I'm sure a lot of people have heard your voice, but your thoughts on Sabu's untimely demise, so to speak.
I mean, he was. I think a lot of people often overuse the word innovator, but I think Sabu was one of those people where you could really say it about him. Just in general, not even with like in like the hardcore world, but in like, turning matches up a notch, the way he used botches and things like that within his rivalries and everything like that. Obviously, he has iconic moments spanning years and years and years. It's very. I think the fact that it came out of nowhere probably hurts a lot more, considering he was one of those people. I think like a Terry Funk, where you just kind of assumed he'd be around forever. But yeah, R.I.P.
Yeah. So I know since you and I spent time together, I know a little bit about you, but I want to get our fans to kind of understand your background. You're very young for the business. You've been doing commentary for a while now, and people have heard your voice on ETU, on ICW. You've done several other companies. You want to tell the fans just a little bit about you, like where'd you get started and kind of how you ended up where you are now, which is, on the East Coast, a voice that we hear in a lot of shows. How did that kind of turn into that?
So I guess the first thing I did in wrestling, I got into wrestling pretty late. I was like freshman year of high school. I started getting more into it, and independent wrestling, Japanese wrestling, lucha libre, stuff like that. And I just had nobody to talk to about it. So I made an account for it, and I just started making Instagram posts and blog posts and stuff like that, just writing about it, stuff that I'm enjoying, everything like that, spreading the word and everything like that. And then specifically, I started getting really into Japanese wrestling. So I would do all my research and about the matches and about the wrestlers, and I would basically just write down like what was going on with the match, all the background information and stuff like that. And that page started getting a little popular. So I ended up meeting a lot of people, and then they find out you're from New York, New Jersey. You start seeing everybody basically. We're tight knit here in the East, on the tri-state area. So yeah, that was pretty much it. And then I had befriended Ryan, the Struggles, and we were making shirts and stuff and helping support wrestlers, going to shows, making a whole group. And then he got the opportunity to do commentary for ICW and a couple other places as well. I think his first was a one-off show called Blind Pig, which was made by Giancarlo, who was awesome. Who does he work for now? He used to work for WWE for a minute. He was with AEW.
Oh, that dude.
Places.
Okay.
Yeah, Giancarlo.
Yeah.
Awesome guy. But he put on a show and started doing commentary. And I like talking. I like hearing my voice. I like trying to tell the story while it's happening, guide viewers and things like that. So I kind of figured that I would be good at it, or at least I would enjoy it. I want to try it. You know what I mean? So I put that out there, basically just randomly, not really assuming that any of it would happen. And then through over the course of ICW.
But that was ICW, by the way, before it became No Holds Barred, right?
Yeah, ICW New York.
Okay. So for people who don't know, we had an indie ICW New York. It was based out of Queens and some Long Island, right? And we had Gage and all sorts of guys were on those shows, and it was more of a standard wrestling format, so to speak.
Yeah, and then it started ramping up with the hardcore, and then eventually switched to full deathmatch.
Yeah.
But yeah, so basically over the course of that history, commentators went in and out and everything like that, and I got the opportunity to jump on the mic. Danny DeMonto didn't hate how I sounded, and I kept getting the opportunities. So that's how it started, really.
So you got into wrestling late. So what brought you into Japanese wrestling? Why that? I mean, why that style? Because I wouldn't have even, when I was watching wrestling, I didn't even know it existed until I got a Pro Wrestling Illustrated. Like what made you like, oh shit, I like this better than what else is out there?
I'm one of those people where if I get into something, I have to know like as much about it as I possibly can. And I was a big just Google and see what happens nerd.
Mm-hmm.
So you Google this person's name and you go and do everything. And this was around when Kenta had debuted for NXT, and they made video packages. They said he was a big deal. So I'm like, okay, I've never heard of this guy before. Mm-hmm. So I Google his name, and there's a couple channels on YouTube that basically just upload All Japan and Pro Wrestling Noah stuff. And he was in a bunch of those. And I think I saw it was Kenta versus Kenta Kobashi at Noah, and just was like, oh, this is intense.
Yeah.
So I think it was something about the intensity at that point that was that drew me to it.
And so you've been up and down the East Coast right now, and like this show and Charlie and JHawk, they're Midwesterners, type of thing. Have you worked any of the companies closer to the Midwest, or have you done anything out in that direction, or are you mainly been honing your craft on the East Coast?
It's East Coast companies, but when we travel, I've gone with them. For ICW NHB, we have a series of shows that we've done in Detroit,
mm-hmm.
Chicago, and then down south in Chattanooga, Tennessee. So those have been the ones I've been able to do, but it's all for the same. I think I've worked for 3 or 4 companies at this point. Yeah.
So you've been in those different states. What do you notice about the style of the fans in those different places as compared to over here? Because I learned very quickly hanging out with Butters and with JHawk. The fans are completely different over in the Midwest and the ones even in Long Island. It's a dismissive crowd. It's like they don't always give you what you need.
Yeah.
Have you found okay, if I'm doing commentary in this area, the fans don't give me anything, I got to change the way I'm calling this, or I got to get more excited, or what do you think about that when you go to those places?
I would say, especially for the Midwest, in New Jersey specifically, you everyone kind of uses the same venues.
Mm-hmm.
Those areas really get the same people over and over and over. So the crowds, we joke they're spoiled, just everyone they have. So you get those times where you go over to a Detroit show, and I'm like, I mean, on paper, this is a good show. It's like an ICW show. You're on every ICW show. So you're like, okay, this is the same person this way. Cool matchups, but that's about it. Sometimes we get a debut. But you go over to the Midwest, and they just love it.
Mm-hmm.
They are loud. They are constant. there's not like a lull in like the crowd that kind of happens sometimes when you don't pace your show correctly. Even if you don't, like if there are things about the show's booking that I didn't really enjoy or something, or maybe I disagreed with it, it doesn't seem to affect the crowd at all. They're just hot the whole time, especially like Chicago. I went to Detroit for the first time like last month, and they were the same way. It was very much like that as well. And the same thing with the South, honestly, with Chattanooga. That crowd is awesome. Tiny little venue, but
they've never seen the Chains, right? So they've got to be like, this is going to be, you're going to get a lot from them for not seeing the Chains before.
Yeah, I would say a lot of sometimes you'll get like it's fun talking to like the security guards at the venues, because you'll talk to them and they'll be like, "Oh, I didn't think it was going to be they've been there for wrestling, but then they're like, you guys are going to wrestle in like chains?" So it's always a fun reaction seeing what they do with that information.
I remember talking to Dom when we went to Butters and I and my brother, a couple guys. We went down to AC during COVID, and I remember asking Dom, and he was like, "You can't. There's nothing to do off the chains. Like you can't do Irish whips. It's not like you're going to get somebody to bring it back for you on the chains." So I remember listening to him tell us like kind of he had to wear shoes that day, but I remember like he was like the whole vibe with chains is completely different than if you're calling it or doing something in a regular ring. So that's the first time I remember when they did ICW 1 at White Eagle. That was that show was absolutely insane. I mean, were you doing that one, or was that Struggles doing that one?
No, that was Struggles. I was in the balcony, but I've been to almost every ICW, whether I've been performing or not.
So this thing, ICW has legs. I mean, it is been there for. I mean, the death match like mentality of fans. What do you think is like the? Do you think, especially as a commentator, do you think there's an end game to it? Do you think there's going to be a day where people are going to be like, I can't do this anymore? Do you think this just has longevity watching this or do we run out of talent before we run out of fan patience? What do you think of that?
I think what you'll find a lot with deathmatch wrestling is the fans are very passionate about it, and I think it's probably because there's not a lot to fake, right. They're bleeding. That's just the way it is. Like, it's a physical embodiment of passion for what they're doing. And you can see it. It's left on the canvas. It's left on you if you shake their hands afterwards.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of them feel that like deeper connection a lot more quickly. But I think because of that, sometimes you'll get wrestlers who maybe aren't the greatest in ring, and they're like, let me do a death match. That'll get me going. That happens a lot. You'll get people that are like, I can do it, and then they bust one tube over their heads, and they're like, I'm a deathmatch wrestler. So,
or they never come back, because I remember Twan wrestling in the chains, and he took one, and the entire match changed.
Yeah, he was out of his element a little bit.
Yeah, Charlie, you remember that one?
Mm-hmm.
JHawk, do you remember that match where Twan took that one tube and it was just all over for him? Like his whole demeanor changed. That was the end of it.
We haven't heard much from him lately, have we? Or
no,
is he stick over?
I think he made a return. I saw him at, what was it? The show in November. He came back to hang out, but I don't remember him. I don't think he's getting in the ring ever again.
Yeah, he pops in every once in a while, but he's not actively doing anything. There's a lot of stuff that happened during COVID in his life that kind of changed his trajectory. So
we always joke that the best thing that happened to ICW was COVID.
I mean, you guys brought the chains everywhere outside. It didn't. It was like the perfect way to do it, right? Yep. Like if you don't even have to worry about a venue, they were like in people's backyards. I mean, it was incredible, just incredible, the resiliency and the fact that wrestling fans would travel and didn't seem to care where it was. They're just going to go watch guys get tubes bust over their heads and breathe it all in while they were there too. I mean, you remember that show in AC? They were like, drive up. It's a deathmatch drive-in. Everybody was on the ring. Like it wasn't like they were
it was cool at night. The visual was really nice with the headlights.
But they were like, keep your distance, and everybody was still on top of each other. Nick Gage comes out, and he just gets hugged by everybody. It's like, it's June, and everyone's just like, yeah, we parked in the lot. We're still outside.
I was very proud I didn't manage to get sunburnt that entire time for some reason.
Oh, I was sitting with Butters, and we that was when Akira jumped off the side of the roof of the hotel. That was nuts. I think that launched his career, too.
Yeah, that was his introduction really to mainstream audiences, I would say.
Yeah. So before we get into like ETU and some other stuff, what are you watching right now? What do you, as a commentator, who do you watch to get yourself better? And what are you like? Because you said you like to like immerse yourself in it. Who are you watching? Who's the guys who you try to model?
Oh, like other commentators?
Yeah.
Well, Struggs, I got to put him over. But he
don't do that. Come on. This ego's already massive.
He's good. He's good. You know, that's the way it is. As far as like other commentators, Dylan Hales has been very helpful. I would say to I love listening to him. He's like just got a style that I really like in commentary, but also he's been a very strong mentor to me, I would say, as far as like that journey going on. Like I did my first show next to him and he told me, you're the lead, go for it. And I did not feel like I was the lead that entire time, but afterwards he coached me through it and was like, yep, you know, keep at it, keep doing this, make sure you're doing all the little things and things like that. And then my co-host for ETU, Alyssa Marino, she's been awesome. She's been really good at giving me like little things that I need to improve on, and just like technical things like don't watch the match, watch the monitor if you have it, because that's what people are seeing at home, stuff like that. Like stuff that you're in the moment, you're like, yeah, that's obvious, but then when you're there, you're like, oh, I should do that, you know.
Oh, so so you were being told like, you know, you call it. So I'm trying to like put my thought together. So it's not like you're not supposed to like kind of peek over the monitor and be like, this is what I'm calling. They really want you on that monitor, like calling the action television side as opposed to calling the action ringside.
Well, specifically with ETU, I think the reason that I had that issue was because I started with ICW. And you don't get monitors sometimes with ICW. You're just doing it. You know, yeah. I'm staring. I'm like we would do it in the H2O Wrestling Center where you're in the crow's nest, and the only way you could see what's going on with the stream is if you peer over a fence and stare at Jerry from IWTV and see if you're at commercial, and whatever you've been saying for the past 30 seconds hasn't actually made it on air. You know, things like that. So I just learned to go. Basically, as the start there. Now we've had more frequently where it'll be the table will be Jerry will be next to me, and then me and Struggs are at the table just calling it, and sometimes we'll look over and be like, okay, cool, you can see that. But Alyssa Marino was really the first person to like tell me like, hey, you should call it off of the monitor because we have it, and it clicked. That was one of the things that clicked for me. That was that I've been doing ever since, really.
Who else have you worked with besides Alyssa Marino and Struggles? Who else have you done shows with?
Ron Nemi, Dylan, Veda Scott. Who else? I'm going to forget everyone. Oh, in Remarkable Wrestling, I'm working with Willie Thrill, who's like a brand new commentator, also from Long Island. So we're like a fun young duo, I guess, in the booth for them. He's very good.
JGold really loves Veda Scott's commentary.
We all have our opinion on Veda Scott. We're not gonna do that yet. I don't want to get Jack in trouble. Doesn't bother me. You are the one that has the issue. I've never really had an issue. You and some of our friend group just say they don't like her. And I don't get very it. Forced. It feels very forced. That's my problem.
Say the same thing about my buddy that does. He was just Mauro Ranallo saying his stuff feels forced. I love Mauro Ranallo's
I love him.
commentary.
Yeah, I love
Mauro
him
so much.
Yes.
He's the best.
I have no issues. I've always felt like Alyssa Marino, if you listen to her on commentary with Jack, it doesn't feel forced. It doesn't feel like I got to raise my voice to this level because it's crazy. Like I don't hear that with her. Like it feels very, I'm pushing out the story and I'm going to push it down your throat, like whether you like it or not, instead of kind of flowing. And that's always been my issue with her. And I apparently I'm wrong because she gets gigs everywhere and everybody likes her. So, it means nothing. It's just, it is what it is. But
she was great to me.
Yeah. So
that's all I got for you.
Right. Maybe Josh, maybe her yelling is because it's either loud in the building and she can't hear over things, or her headphones aren't up enough for her to be able to hear herself. So she has to like talk loud because she doesn't know that.
Yeah,
she can't hear herself talk. Maybe that's what it is. But I don't. I've got used to it at this point. Like it flows usually. Like there's rarely a time where I'm just like, oh man, that was really bad. Like why would she say that, or why was this? Like usually she's been pretty decent. So
Well, I mean, it's not one of those that like takes you out of the show. It's just not something I enjoy. And I think, Jack, I think you can understand, like, and you do understand how important, like, to watch on these streams it is to have somebody who can get you through the show, especially because there are so many companies, it's impossible to keep up with any of them, like, unless you have your favorites. Like, I know exactly what's happening in ETU. I know it's actually what's happening in Enjoy and in AIW and in NeoPro. But if I jump on and watch one of those shows that's out of nowhere and I'm like, I really want to watch New Texas, I have no fucking idea what's happening. And the commentator better be good, because otherwise I'm just going to be like, I can't watch this. I can't do it. Just pulls me right out of it.
Yeah, there are some times where I'm like, oh, I'm repeating myself too much show to show, and then I'm like, well, the viewers need to know, like, the new ones.
Yeah.
You always got to what's the term? You have to what's it called? Like,
reinforce it.
Yeah, but I was going to use a
you have to assume that somebody watching the show is watching for the first time. You need to get them up to speed. That's basically the point you're trying to make.
Yeah, sometimes you have to assume they're idiots.
Mm-hmm. They are. Most wrestling fans are idiots anyway.
That was the term I was trying to think of. You had to you're taught that because I did like TV production at school sometimes, and they would talk about that a lot. Some don't belittle them, but they're idiots. Like, treat them as if they are, and you need to explain it to them. Yeah, you need to explain it to them. Like,
so
don't
what's
assume
really interesting,
anything.
Josh, is when we first start, like, we do a lot of interviews now, but before we used to do a lot of like reviews, and we used to watch a lot of different shows, and we didn't always keep up on what was happening on some of these shows. We'd bounce around a lot. So it's really interesting that it was rare that we had too much trouble figuring out what was going on. And every once in a while there'd be something that didn't make sense to us, but would be explained usually by a promoter after the fact, like, hey, this is actually why this happened. But for the most part, like, commentary has come a long way from like what it used to be on. Like, when I used to first watch indie wrestling and CZW, it was those guys doing it, and it was they would try to tell you the story, but you had to pay attention and like pick it up, or you just weren't going to figure it out.
It's funny that you bring that up, and anybody can answer this, but I'll ask Jack too, because I think it's something to think about now. Do you think because of streaming and how far along we are now after COVID, more companies are keeping guys closer to themselves and doing story-based, episodic type of wrestling, as opposed to the super indies where everybody was trying to get those big matches and just book names on the card? It could be for cost, it could be for viewers, but do you think like there's more for you as a commentator that's more story driven now, as opposed to like, I'm just going to call Nick Gage versus, Tessa Blanchard like in ICW1 just for the fuck of it, because it's not going to matter when the match is over. Then that also be a part two of the question. Do you feel like it's not as fulfilling as a commentator if you're calling those matches where there's nothing at the end of it, where it means nothing?
I think it's a mix. I will say story stuff is always more fun because you get to put your own spin on it and explain your vision within it. Like I'm thankful a lot of the stuff that I've been able to do, I've either worked very closely with it, or the promoter is basically giving me free reins to basically tell it the way that they want me to tell it. I haven't really been told like, you have to hit this, you have to hit that, you have to everything. They seem to trust my feel for the story and everything like that. So that's been useful. As far as the super indies thing, I think it's tough because especially now everyone's getting signed. So it's tough to put somebody into a storyline that you want to do knowing that they might be gone in 6 months and you don't run that often.
Right.
It's kind of tough to do. So I think, the like we in ETU, we tried to build a core of people that we either know, like young up and comers, people we believe in, people we see all the time, people that we really like to watch wrestle and everything like that. We believe that they could succeed if put that time and effort into, and not just this person's in town because of TNA, that kind of thing.
Right.
Which there's a place for that, but we prefer to do it the way that we had it. I think as far as Whether the big marquee matches are more fun or less fun, honestly depends. Because sometimes I really do just like calling a banger. It's a good time, and especially for me personally, like I really like being able to check somebody off of a bucket list of somebody that I've gotten to call. Somebody that you really want.
Like Ultra Jaguar.
Yes, exactly like Ultra Jaguar.
Just want to make sure we highlight that one. So give me let's even talk about like just your first few years, and then before we go to the last few, but what was your favorite match that you called in your, like, as you were in your infancy? Or what was the match that you said to yourself, I did a great fucking job and that match was awesome?
I mean, I think I was like 4 shows in and they let me call Hoodfoot versus Abdullah Kobayashi.
Oh shit. Okay.
So that was fun.
Was that a death match?
Yes.
Oh, nice. Okay.
It was I was not expecting to get that, like, because I kind of assumed somebody would like switch out with me. No, they let me call it. And it was basically the way that we called it was we told the story stuff. We got to put over Abdullah and we got to put over Hoodfoot and everything of what they've been doing at the company. But a lot of it was just, isn't this really cool that we're calling this right now? Which is always fun, especially when in ICW specifically, I think a lot of the fans online have investments in us as like backstage people, because we were just fans really that got the opportunity to be on the microphone. So getting these opportunities is always cool. Like we didn't really have to say anything. There was a victory lap for all of us, thankfully, because we're very grateful for that kind of thing. But yeah, I think that's an early one that I really enjoyed.
Yeah, I was going to say, and you came very far from that to, like, did you call the Ultimo Dragon Danny DeManto match also?
Yeah.
So you got to go. I mean, you've come a very long way to calling an Ultimo Dragon match.
Yeah.
Like that's a relatively short amount of time. It's not like you've been in the business 30 years and you're like, now I got my shot. Like, you're very young for the business, and to get those matches under your belt is probably, something that a lot of those younger guys would kill for at this point.
Yeah.
So well, let's say, so it's in the last year or so after WrestleMania year last year in Philly. What do you think right now is like your favorite you're going to hang your hat on?
Like previous matches? I really liked calling. Santana is just so much fun to call because everything he does is crisp. It all looks like it's killing, and you can really just rest on that. Me personally, I have like a connection to him because if you're a New York guy, you love seeing other New York guys winning like that.
Yeah.
So being able to talk about, like, he went from playgrounds on the Bronx to fighting in the main event of a TNA pay-per-view, and now he's here in front of us wrestling Yamato, who is somebody that I've always loved to watch wrestle. So that was an awesome one. Most Santana matches, to be honest. His match previously with Matt Makowski was stellar. I loved doing that. I love calling technical guys, BJJ background guys, MMA guys, because I love boxing. I love all that stuff. So being able to go like technical play-by-play kind of stuff for that is always a treat for me.
I feel like Santana's like, and more for us on the East Coast. So this is why I always love when I have you guys on, because I feel a little bit more like it's like when you're with family. Like, it's more, you guys are, my Long Island guys are here. Yes. I feel very good. I feel like Mike Santana is a very down to earth, very understanding the business, knows when he's coming into a place, what he wants to do or what he needs to do, as opposed to like, I'm this guy. I was in AEW, I was in TNA, and you're going to do this for me. I feel like he gives a lot to ETU as far as what you guys need from him.
He does. He's been fantastic. We just got we got a text from him just a little while ago that was like, I'm making ETU a priority, which that's awesome. We're a company that's like 3-4 years old, and he sees enough in it that we're on the top of his list. We try to get good matchups for him, and he returns the favor with, I don't think he's had a bad match at ETU.
I can't remember one that
I don't think he's had a mediocre match. I think they've all been good to great.
But he also looks different than everyone else. Like, he looks like a star. Like, his legs, and he's not, when you see him, like when you used to see him in AEW in a tag team, you didn't go like, oh, he's like a singles big, like, but when you look at him on now, he's just giant. Like, his legs are giant. His arms are giant. He just looks different than most of the indie wrestlers. And I think that's another draw to get him in ETU, is where you're like, I'm seeing a star when he comes out, right?
He has that presence about him. Even when he walks in for the first time with his roller suitcase, you're like, oh, he's here.
Right. Yeah, this guy knows what he's doing. He knows he's not here to fuck around. He's a businessman. He comes in and does his thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of
Butters, yeah, go ahead, Jack. Sorry.
Sorry. I was just saying there's the joke about indie wrestling is that you can't tell who's a fan and who's wrestling. Like, you can tell immediately with Santana.
Yeah. Oh, shit. That's actually hilarious.
A lot more accurate than you would think, unfortunately.
Right. A lot of people think they're promoters, too.
Yeah, who would
have thought that, Butters? Not me.
Thought?
Go ahead, Butters. JHawk, if you guys have questions, I want to get into the ETU card in a little bit, but if you guys want to get in with Jack while he's going.
I mean, JGold kind of touched on some of the questions I had already. I don't have a lot, but I always fascinated when we get a commentator on what level of preparation are you doing before a show? How are you talking to guys beforehand about what they want to get across?
I used to do a lot more research before like every show. I would make sure I know everyone, the basic stuff, making sure everyone's name. I would write down if they won any titles recently, if they had any big wins recently, stuff like that, stuff that I could put over on commentary. But a majority of it now, especially because a lot of the people I work with, I've worked with before, I'll get frustratingly little from them sometimes because I'll ask them, I'll go, is there anything you want? And they'll just go, no, which is really just leave me alone. I'm doing something right now, which is fine. But, I always enjoy when somebody actually gives me stuff. Marcus always gives me something. He always gives me like a vision that he has for the match. I'll get like PDFs from some wrestlers of stuff that they want hit on. Pretty Boy Smooth is one of those people who would do that. He sends you a long list of stuff, everything that you want that he wants put over. Even if you can't get to all of it, he's like, just have it in the back of your mind, something you can hit to if I'm on offense, something like that. That's always something I appreciate because I'm not necessarily asking somebody to do the work for me because I'll do it. You can tell me nothing and I can just watch you and go, yep, perfect. Mm-hmm. I can work with that. But getting that extra steps, those extra preparations lets me know how you feel about yourself and I can portray that to the audience.
All right. Now, are you one of those guys who want to go in? I don't want to say completely blind because that's bad, but how much do you want to know ahead of time or do you just want to call it by feel for the most part?
Mostly by feel. I would say a lot of, I'll write down like bullet points of stuff. Before
you're not looking at the run sheet though, right? Like, are you looking at the run sheet or is it organic when you see the end of the matches and such?
For a lot of for ICW, like I don't know anything really. He'll send me the match and I think it'll say who's over, but it's like it's so quick that you're like, oh, okay, I'll just call it, that kind of thing. Like if it's a big moment that we need to like, you need to be ready for, you need to have a big call for, then yeah, I'll prep for that. But most of the time, you just call it how it is. You try to make sure that your lead-ins and get-outs are fast and don't interrupt anything. That's really it. But for like ETU, like I'm within the booking process as well, so I know what's going to happen. That kind of stuff. As long as it all goes well, obviously.
As long as they're not diving over the top rope onto the floor and tearing their shoulder out.
Yeah.
Big Sam.
Something about that side of the ring at ETU. Somebody always either they overshoot it or they get hurt.
And that PWJ show with Braden Toon just smashing his shins against the poorly laid out barricades.
Well, did you see the video?
Oh, I've seen it. Yeah.
I know, but did you watch the guy in the front row who they had moved the barricades back and he pushed it back with his foot?
Oh, no. Was that what it was?
Hell yeah.
Fucking guy.
All right. I mean, you did kind of mention earlier that you like having bangers once in a while, but you like being able to check guys off of your bucket list. Who's on that bucket list right now? Who do you want to call?
Well, I'm going to Japan in like a month, so Junho Sai is a big one.
Nice.
Fuck yeah.
He's awesome. Also, they announced him. I don't know. I actually don't know his match yet, but when I first started, the first thing I ever did in wrestling, besides be a fan and like give input or something like that, was I got to play music and ring the bell for Concrete Jungle at ICW, which was Daisuke Sekimoto versus Eddie Kingston.
Oh, shit.
Daisuke Sekimoto is on the ICW cards, and that's going to be like I think a good like full circle moment for me. that I could call Daisuke Sekimoto match. He's also been one of my favorites of all time, so it's gonna be cool, something like that.
How many of those are you guys doing out there?
Three, two in Tokyo and one in Nagoya.
Holy shit!
And you got to get one of the Ribera jackets. Ribera's Japanese for. I'm in the wrestling business and I've been to Japan. So.
Yeah, are you gonna do that, Jack? Are you and Strug's gonna go get Ribera jackets?
No, I'm not a mark.
Yep.
He's going to get one. He's not going to tell anybody he got one.
He's going to get one.
But the commentator needs a Ribera jacket? What are we doing?
If I was going to Japan for a wrestling company, I absolutely would, commentary or not.
Yeah, you just got to get it, dude. You just got to get it and keep it and be like, yeah, that was fucking dope, because who knows when I'll get back to Japan. Right. Like, just hold it in your hands, Jack.
I mean, I wouldn't be bragging about it on Twitter or whatever, but like I'd have it in the closet. No,
what he should do is he should get it and then he should wear it to ETU Summer Madness and wear it in the that would be so get like
every show from that on.
Right.
So hold my Ribera jacket.
I've literally kind of want to do one tour of Japan just to get one of those jackets. I'll put one picture on Twitter. Hey, look what I got, and that'll be the end of it. I'll look in my closet for the most part. But I
wear that shit to work every day. I'd be wearing it over everything, over a suit jacket. Everything would be shirt and tie and a Ribera jacket every day.
Yeah, I just want to be able to say I have one. I'm not gonna lie.
I'll see what Danny says.
Oh, come on, Danny.
Based on his reaction, I'll see how it is.
Right. He definitely will give you shit if you did it.
Oh no, he's gonna get one.
Yeah. Oh, he's gonna get one. Right.
He's a massive nerd for that shit.
Right. Well, yes, he is. But that would be amazing though for you and Stroh's, or just eat there. Just get a picture outside.
Oh, we're eating there. That I know we're doing.
Yeah, fuck the jacket. Who wants to spend however much? It's probably going to cost a fortune anyway, right? Like, get a steak and see what it's like, and be like, I heard the steak's not that great, so you might as well eat it anyway and see what happens.
They said the Ribera steak is whatever, but if you go to Mr. Danger Steak, it's better. So we'll probably end up doing both because Mr. Danger, deathmatch legend as well. So
wait, so he's got his own steakhouse?
Yes, a lot of these retired wrestlers have their own like restaurant stuff, because when you would young boy in the dojos, a lot of them learned how to cook. So that's one of the only skills they have, because you get into wrestling out of high school.
What's amazing is they could get a steakhouse and it's open and you could talk about it forever and shit. And like here, just imagine if like Nikolai Volkov opened up a steakhouse like in Brooklyn. It's not going to last as long as Mr. Danger Steakhouse. Nobody would go.
Well, it's like Scott Steiner and his Shoney's.
Or Abdullah the Butcher.
Well, but Abby's was around for a long time. Like that got a lot of traction because down south you get a little more loyalty and shit. But try opening that up. Like imagine in like Ridgefield Park, somebody opens up a steakhouse. It'll be open for approximately 6 months before they run out of money and close. Like, there's just no loyalty like that in the business here.
Yeah, I'd be afraid with the wrestler in the States opening up a restaurant and just eating and drinking themselves out of their profits.
Right.
A lot of people get what happened to Gorgeous George. He opened up a bar and then he wound up drinking, and the entire time he got the bar, he lost money, but he was drinking everything.
Not surprising, actually. Yeah, that makes sense. I think you're going to have. I just think in Japan in general, I think the culture is just that of, this loyalty that is just so much more rewarding, I think, when these guys are done. I think here we give it such little reverence that when the guys are done, it's more of like people treat it as more jokingly, like, oh, you like wrestling? In Japan, it's more like it's a combat sport, and we're going to treat these people like warriors. And then, you're here and, what's her name? Yamashita's wrestling in front of 35 people at the Mecca, for whatever Pro Wrestling Magic, and you're like, she doesn't get the same reference, she would probably get in Japan. Mm-hmm. So I think that's the trade-off, so to speak.
Well, I think it's because their wrestling, cultural touchstone is like Antonio Inoki and Baba, who are like legitimate, like most influential people in the history of their country. Mm-hmm. That's like, there's polls like that, and then we have like Hulk Hogan,
right?
Which I mean, Hulk's Hulk, but he hasn't exactly had the greatest imagery in the past couple of years.
Well, that's also the problem. Like Hulk, for some of the old people, they'll still be like, "Oh, do you remember Hulk Hogan?" And the young people, there's too much internet to keep that veil, and so we already know that he's fucking trash, and he's out of the lexicon. Right? That's the end. Like
it's like I guess the way they talk about wrestlers is kind of like how I guess imagine if we still spoke about Andre the Giant the way that we do speak about him, and it's not because of the Princess Bride.
Right.
It's because of just his wrestling career.
Right.
Everyone's like, "Oh, Andre was amazing. He was larger than life." Wish he lived longer. That kind of stuff. But,
right. He brokered a peace deal. In the Ukraine. Nope. People. You just like Inoki and Baba did stuff politically and did stuff culturally that means more. Like none of our wrestlers did anything culturally that means anything when you look at it.
Or if they did, it was bad.
Right. They all just took money. They did a lot of drugs. They are known for, womanizing and shit. And then that was the end of it. We're not building a statue of him fighting a car or turning a car over like Baba in Japan. So
I would build a statue of Jerry Lynn.
Well, I don't know enough about Jerry Lynn's philanthropy to build a statue yet. So
really nice.
We could build one of a Macho Man, snap into a Slim Jim, and I mean those are in every gas station. It's a little statue of Macho Man.
I was just gonna say they already have
a statue in its own way.
Yeah. I mean, there's different kinds. I look at them they're all for sale on Facebook all the time for $200-$300. So
insanity. So if we could shift a little bit to this weekend's card, because I want to get your opinion and JHawk and Butters, we're going to watch the show, and down the line this summer we're going to review it. As far as your thoughts on which match on that card is going to steal the show, which one do you say keep your eye on besides the main event because Marcus and Santana?
Yeah.
But which one do you say this one is going to be? Keep an eye on it.
The tag team match is super intriguing.
Mm-hmm.
Bishop and Holloway being a tag team that was it's less of an established tag team and more of like a Josh is Sam's mentor kind of situation. So I'm excited to see the dynamic on that. If as far as just match that I think will surprise everyone and steal the show, probably Quan versus A Game.
Yeah. What Akuro Kwan is after seeing him at that tag tournament, he is a very underrated talent, and I think
amazing.
Even though he's on MLW, I don't think he's getting the kudos throughout the indies as he probably should. A guy of that talent.
Well, we talked. We always talk about how he wrestles twice every 2 months, just because of not MLW. He's getting amazing matches and people are seeing it, but his name isn't getting out there as much. Especially now, originally he was over here on Long Island. This is where he's from, and now he moved down to Florida, and he's doing great things over there. But the Florida Indies isn't what it used to be. So
right.
Just the way it is. So the opportunities that he get, he was in Arena Mexico, and then he wrestled Mystico in Chicago last week.
Yeah, I was going to say, wasn't he just doing something? Wasn't he with Dijak? Yeah, he was just doing big things, and I don't think. For an East Coast guy and a guy who we've had all over the East Coast, I am surprised sometimes when I see him that sometimes I think he's overlooked as far as his talent goes. Yeah.
I just think for how little experience he has, he just does the little things so well, which I love. And he's one of those guys where you watch him throw strikes and you go, oh, that's what that's supposed to look like.
Mm-hmm.
There's you see a bad punch, you're kind of, but you see a bad punch in a world of bad punches, they all look fine. But then you see him throw a head kick, you see him throw a leg sweep, things like that. You're like, oh, okay. No, everyone else has been doing that, has been terrible, basically.
Well, yeah, and so speaking of that, laying in your kicks, ETU has had a lot of the area has gotten a lot of use and run out of Janai Kai, who is, I feel like, her look is television ready. So what do you think? What's holding her back from being on a Ring of Honor to start to just get herself going so she gets her? I know she's MLW, but what is holding that kind of talent as a female wrestler? Because there's not many who, first of all, her legs are like tree trunks, and she will kick your face in, and she can fight men and women and everybody else. What do you think what do you guys see that you're like, yes, every time we bring her out here, she delivers, and this is the person, what's holding her back from being bigger?
I think a lot A lot I would say for like TV talent, especially women,
Mm-hmm.
is they just don't really know what to do with a dominant wrestler that isn't large.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of it, like, Janai has a bigger, a larger than life personality, and her look is great. The unique makeup and everything. The gear is really good. Even the entrance music with like
Yes, it's my
everything.
favorite
She
in the
has all of
business.
it.
Yes.
She has all of it, but it's just she walks in there and she's 5'5", and there are people that are gonna look at that and they're gonna go, well, that's not believable, even though you can hit somebody with a 10-pound weight in the side of the head, it'll knock them out. It doesn't matter if it's from
Well, but do you think most of the women on TV are over 5'5"? I mean, look at Io Sky and Alexa Bliss and Liv Morgan. They're not much taller than that. I mean, put them in the ring against her, it's fucking over.
I just think with her gimmick, the way she presents herself, she has to be like the dominating force. And with somebody like an Alexa Bliss, a Liv Morgan, and things like that, they can kind of be both ways. They can be a conniving heel, they can be a downtrodden baby face, and things like that. And it works. I think a lot of what Janai does, and she does it incredibly well, is that she is the overwhelming force that you have to stop. And when the only other person that you're willing to call that is, Megan Bain or somebody like that who's like huge, and you're like, oh, like, so like she'll walk into a room and everyone will go, oh, I have no idea how anyone's going to beat her. Janai, it still looks tangible, even though once you see her, you're like, oh, okay.
Right.
I think it's something like
she's
that.
very unassuming when she walks around the shows. She's in like a hoodie and like sweats, and you're not like, okay, this is someone who's just gonna. And then she puts on like the Mortal Kombat gear, and she's just gonna fuck you up. And like, the crowd feels it the second she comes out too.
Yeah, I think it's just it's one of those things where it's like, I'm just trying to give an explanation because she has everything that I would like in a women's wrestler. So, and we try to showcase that.
And I think you guys are going to do. I think it's going to do really well against Becca. I think the two of them, they're different styles. Becca plays a great cowardly heel. She is just perfect at what she does. And I think that I don't know. I don't think I know really in ETU what Janai Kai is, if she's a heel or face. But I know that she against Becca is going to be the one who they're cheering for. So I think that's going to be a very, very underrated. I think it's going to be a very good match. Yeah. So, and then what are your thoughts on? That it's a four-way. It's Ultra Jaguar and Gabe Sky and those guys. What do you think of that match?
I love a high octane, everyone just doing cool shit kind of match, and I think us being able to throw in some interesting storyline points with Toon kind of feeling, he's missed like a show and a half or like 2 shows, whatever it was. And now just trying to reestablish himself with someone like somebody who made a big impact last show, like Conan Lycan, and then you got Gabe Sky and the Expected. That's going to be another thing to worry about. And then Ultra Jaguar, who is looking to rebound. He even though he walked out with a win, I think he was not exactly happy with his performance against Eli Knight. And I think
another hell of a talent. That kid, Eli Knight, awesome.
Yeah, I think a 4-way, he'll be able to get his feet under him a little bit better and be able to showcase how talented he is. That's always what you want.
And I will say for the IW Guide listeners, Conan Lycan is going to be an absolute star somewhere. So everybody should look out for that dude because he is a monster.
It's awesome.
Like, yeah.
Gosh, you know who's missing on this card, right?
Who?
Mikey Montgomery.
Here we go.
I've called a Mikey Montgomery match before.
Have you?
Yeah, for Wild Zero Wrestling, upstate New York.
Okay.
Yeah. They're the ones who had the tag team titles was the Jackets.
The Jackets, yeah.
That's fucking dope.
It's a fun little promotion. Yeah. I didn't get to do it live. Yeah, it's on YouTube and stuff like that. They do a lot of dojo stuff because they're like a school that runs wrestling. But I got to do post-show commentary for it, which I thought was fun. I just ran it straight through and got to do it. Really good.
Oh, that's awesome.
I got to do it like twice. It was a good time.
I know PME were their tag champs for a while too, and they're a big fan. I'm a big fan of theirs. I would if I could see a really interesting tag team come over to the East Coast. PME is definitely a couple of guys that I would love to kind of see mix up in. I think they would be better off. I would like them with big, because when they wrestled the Bear Country at AIW, that was one of my favorite matches. I saw them wrestle, and that was crazy because those two dudes were tossing them all over the place, and that's when Philly was even a little bigger, and now he's kind of slimmed down. They worked really well, kind of stacking up like the finish.
Yeah, the version of their finish they hit was probably one of the coolest versions of the finish they've ever hit.
Right? That was an awesome match.
That was really fucking sweet.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just something. Those guys are something that there's a few of those Midwestern teams that I would love to see kind of make their way more of an East Coast. I know we addressed it already with like how companies keep their guys and have their core. I just wonder where the crack is to get guys through the door. You know what I mean? Like when that will be like, well, we need to bring more guys East Coast, or is it an economic thing where maybe if the economy turns around in a year or two, people are like, oh, we have more money to spend, we could bring more guys in, fly more guys, or will it continue to be that trend forever now, like where indie guys are like, nope, I don't need to pay for a flight and a hotel room or a car full of guys when I can just call up somebody who's 10 miles away. I wonder if that'll ever change again and go backwards.
I think it's just a preference of what the promoter wants, like stepping into that realm, and like a lot of it is like I can get big names if you want to spend the money to get them to come out and do things. Will he get more views? Maybe. But like looking at what I've put out so far, Gary J, way more views than Cheeseburger, and Cheeseburger is, a lot more well known. So it's just a matter of who finds it and what what they're into.
But I wonder if I'm talking, less about like if you bring a team like PME in, they're not a top of the card, like I'm bringing them in to sell tickets. It's more of like, is it worth it now for a promoter to bring in a new tag team that's from outside the area to wrestle a current tag team? Does it pay anymore? You know what I mean? Like they don't have to be the main event, but would you bring in a team just for one time and have to pay for transportation, a hotel to put them, against your tag team just to have a match that's different? You know what I mean? Like, will that turn around and be there again? I don't know. I just wonder, about that sometimes.
Yeah, I think it's what you're trying. Like for instance, right now, because we just did the Atlantic Tag Team Tournament and everything like that, we're looking to expand the tag division. So we're willing to go further out and things like this. I think this also speaks to like the spoiledness of the East Coast, because we have guys and they're great, but you've seen them a million times,
right? So
it kind of feels stale, even though they are phenomenal, things like that. But especially it sucks, honestly, because me and Andrew and me and Struggs watch so much wrestling.
Sucks, Andrew, yeah.
Right. We watch so much wrestling, and it gives you more people that you're like, oh, I'd love to get them involved, but then you have 4 or 5 spots a card. It's tough to fill them.
That makes sense.
My little like 2 spots that I have, it's like sitting down trying to figure out where everybody fits. And then like after this last weekend, I had was it 8, 10 guys?
Yep.
Yeah, 10 guys. And it's like I want to use them all again, but how do I make it work financially and like make it make sense? Like and then bring in new people that I want to work with again, that I've worked other places, like that have worked other places with me, and like that I want to give a shot and let them show what they can do. It's definitely difficult for sure. I think it's just a little bit at a time, and when something fits, then it works. Like originally the idea was, I wanted to have the belt defended there, but like Struggles is like a different cat. He doesn't like doing something that makes it predictable, because expect the unexpected. It's you don't want something that's predictable like that. So I totally get that. So, but I think even standing on his own without the title, I think Mikey is like just one of them guys that, you put in one of those high flying matches and just watch him cook, and he'll show out anywhere. So
yeah, I think then that's the will always be the problem. And even with streaming services and being able to see, let's say you bring in another belt from another place, you're assuming, oh, maybe they've seen him in this company. Even with that, you still, as a promoter, don't want to cheapen your own belts, so to speak, to have somebody else come in. So I think it's all a strange. The world feels so much more connected and yet so much more disconnected as far as the wrestling world, now. Even the AIW show, it's not like they're going out and for 20th anniversary and bringing in guys from California and from Florida. They got like 2 or 3 guys that have been part of the company, and they're still the rest of it is their guys. So yeah,
I mean, one of the quotes that we always say for ETU is like, thankfully I think we have a decent reputation at this point. You're going to get taken care of. We're going to take you seriously. We're going to present you as a big deal, everything like that. But the trade-off is we always go, but we don't got it like that.
Mm-hmm.
We're not West Coast. We're not Prestige. They're awesome. They get to do what they want to do, but we don't have it like that. We got
mm-hmm.
maybe an extra $800 every show to spend on people.
Yeah.
So it's tough. Like, if you want that spot, if you want to be involved with us, that goes a long way. Now you're in the rotation. Now we know, this guy wants it. This guy wants to be involved with what we have going on. And all of a sudden, a big marquee name isn't as enticing.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. And it's just part of the I guess it's almost like a condensing, or like a condensing of the territories, so to speak, where you don't have to do it anymore. You either bring in guys close or you don't do it. So that's interesting.
It does suck that we have all these connections across the country and we can't really do a lot with them.
Yeah, it definitely. I mean, it must be hard. You're looking at those guys, you're like, oh, that would be fucking great. And
then you're like, do they think I'm a dick?
Right.
You're like, we're not using you. It's like, man, you live in Kentucky. What do you want?
Yeah. Unless you're gonna drive yourself up, we're gonna have to keep it distance. Yeah.
Are you around? Sense. And then they're like around like the week before, but they can't stay it longer than that. You're like,
yeah, it's interesting.
Or they tell you last second, and you're like, yeah,
right. How am I going to sell that? Yeah.
You hope someone gets hurt. Like, right. What do you want?
Well, shit. Well, Jack, if you we've been going for about an hour, so I want to get some plugs in for Sunday's show, and whatever else you have going on, coming up, So, give us some plugs and whatnot, and tell us what's going on.
Yeah. Well, this Sunday, ETU, whatever it takes, May 18th. We're looking forward to this one. It's been a long build. Excited to see when Santana and Marcus finally clash. I think it's going to be one of our best shows, if I'm honest. It's going to be tough to top Tidal Wave because we were super proud of that show. But I think, returning to form and building towards Summer Madness is going to be a cool beginning and a cool end here. A couple debuts that we're excited for, returns. I think top to bottom, it's going to be a top indie show this year.
I will say, if you're in the New Jersey area and you can get out to ETU on Sunday at the Mecca, go. And then I never had more fun than I did at Summer Madness last year. It is wild. So the summer months with wrestling is a lot of fun. The Mecca is a hoot in the summer. And come out and check out ETU. And Jack, we appreciate that. JHawk, what do you got? Plugs, my friend.
Follow me Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, and Blue Sky at RefJHawk. Instagram at JHawk1539. My next show will be next weekend, the 24th, at Real Action Pro Wrestling, the Ohio Urban Renaissance Center in Youngstown, Ohio. And I'm actually trying to get the lineup pulled up, and my computer being kind of a pain. So
it's because it's not a real thing. That doesn't exist. You go there and you just you count to 3 multiple times in an empty building and think there's people there. It doesn't exist.
That ain't right.
You know what? You can say whatever you want to about what they draw, but I get paid every single time I go.
I'm not talking about what they draw. I'm just saying that you have delusions in your head that there's actually nothing there. There's no company called Real Action Pro Wrestling. It's all in your head. It has been this whole time.
Yeah, that's an oddity.
That'll tell you. That'll say otherwise, right. Butter. I'm throwing that out.
Your wife got that for you because you talk about it all the time. You actually go out to your garage, and that's where you think the Urban Renaissance Center is.
I'm sorry, JHawk. I didn't mean to pile on. I'm good. We're good. Shit,
dude, I almost had him. I bet I could have gotten him. He would have believed that he was really hallucinating these things. Oh, so close.
I'm hopped up on pain medication right now. You probably could have pulled it off with a couple more minutes.
Save some for me for Friday.
Yeah. Go follow IW Guide on Facebook. We are in the midst of a feud of feuds with other podcasts, so we need all the support. So if you listen to us, it's like the kind that might eventually go away. Right now, we're just starting.
Supposedly, I'm going to come in the summer and get into a fight. So that's all I know.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
Seems productive.
Yes.
It's going to fight
that kind of heat.
Trying to stand up when he's so drunk.
Right. Because I haven't been involved in any of those before.
Yeah. It's got commentary fights.
That's right. Commentary fights.
Shane Mega had to cancel that 4-ring battle royal they wanted to do. We could have gotten you in there.
Right.
Oh, that would have been rad. Is that it, Butters?
Yeah, I mean, I did want to talk about our partnership with Gorilla Press Clothing. That went really well over the weekend. We sold a ton of cards. People were getting them all autographed. They were very excited about it. And I made like $140 something.
There you go.
Just from my cards, and I was selling wrestling figures. So I think that's going to be my new little side gig at wrestling shows is selling figures and cards.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be we'll come up with something for it.
All right. You can find me on Twitter and on Instagram at JGold12. Rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to us. Or check out our Twitter handle, IWGuide1, our Blue Sky handle, IWGuide, and patreon.com/IWGuide. Don't forget about the merch store over at Brainbuster Tees. Hey, we got some awesome new stuff there, and there's a great ladder. Is it a tables match or ladders match logo?
It's the title match.
Oh, right. It's great, and check that out. And it's in hoodies and whatnot. And I'm going to get that Gorilla Press apparel. When you use code IWGP24 at checkout, when you buy 2 or more items, you get $20 off your entire order.
His hats were a huge hit. He's doing hats now, and the hats are very popular. So look out for those. I think he's going to do another run. You might see him if you see him up on the shop, get them quick because they sold out at the show. So
nice. And check out our other podcast friends. We are part of the Main Event Wrestling Network, the Wrestling Junkies on the Mark Wrestling Podcast, and my Tuesday night show, the NXT Night Shift. Check that out. We are on every Tuesday night live, and you can call in or you could comment and talk shit to me and be mean and whatnot, and just how everybody seems to do that anyway. At Odds with Wrestling, the card is going to change the Super Fantastic Podcast and Marks with Mikes. Check out our other friends, Time Capsule Toys, Toy Hio, Rubber City Toys, Neo Pro Wrestling, and Pally's Beef Jerky by our very own friend Kaplan.
Yeah.
Jack, thank you so much. That's all I got, Butters.
Life's short. Watch more indie wrestling.
See ya.
Don't forget to review and subscribe wherever you listen to us. Find us online at Facebook and Instagram at the Indie Wrestling Guide, and on X or Twitter at IWGuide1.